Welcome back to Equity TV. I'm Francis Mayer, and this morning we're talking about issues facing veterans. We just had a wonderful conversation with Joe Drullard from Wounded Heroes, and if you didn't have a chance to watch that, I encourage you to go to YouTube and look up Bakersfield College Equity TV, and you're going to see an excellent segment with a guy running an organization that isn't too worried about how disabled you are or how prestigious your post in the military is. They're just looking to help post 9/11 veterans, and that's really what it's all about. The next guest that we're going to have on is a guy who knows how to help people when they decide that change involves higher education. And that was your story, actually, Dean.
Yeah. Hey, Francis, how you doing?
I'm good. Get up on that mic, though. You were a guy, and we've talked before. Your story was that you had a big family, for one thing.
Right.
And working class dad busted his tail, but there were a lot of kids to put in school clothes. I have 3 kids, by the way, and I dang near need an equity line of credit for school clothes now. Like, not cheap. And you played baseball, and you got bit by the military bug pretty early on. How did that happen?
Oh, the military bug, that was 4 years old. I walked into the living room. My dad was watching an old documentary called Victory at Sea, and I sat down, and I was just smitten. What is this? Well, this is World War II. What's World War II?
4 years old.
And that's where it started. And as soon as I got my hand on a library card and discovered the history section, it was all over.
Right, and you and Joe Drullard kind of have a similar story in that you weren't a guy who enlisted right out of high school, were you?
Oh, no. I enlisted while I was still in high school.
Okay.
My parents had to sign for me. I was only 17.
That's what it was. Okay.
Right.
All right. Yes,
Right.
very good. And then once you got into the military, you were one of those medics.
I was. Actually, I joined the Navy to go on submarines and went to submarine school. And they said, well, actually, medically, you can't go on a submarine because you have asthma, which I didn't. Well, do you want to be a corpsman? Sure. Became a corpsman and ended up getting stationed with the Marines as a result.
Did you have any idea what that meant?
I did. I knew it was the ground pounding. I knew it was a lot of the emergency medicine and so on.
Yeah, no, you are in the thick of it, and I've talked to many Marines who, and I know that the Navy and the Marine Corps, they like to joke with each other and say the Marine Corps is the Department of the Navy, which I think it is.
It is.
But Marines never have a bad thing to say about corpsmen. They're definitely the glue, so that's key. Now, after your military career was over, did you have a plan?
No. I really did not. For the most part, it was time to get out. I knew it was time to get out. It was a matter of what do I do now? And what I did now is I twiddled my thumbs for 2 years, and I realized I need to get to college and I need to get on with my life. By then I was hitting my mid-20s, and I think a lot of people have that quarter age crisis. Okay, what do I do? And that was it for me.
Well, that's the truth, because it's funny that when you're in high school or until you're 22, people don't ask you what you do. And let me tell you, if you are not an adult and you're watching or listening, savor that for as long as you can, because when you're an adult, people expect to know what you're doing.
I think a lot of it, when you do hit 25, most people expect if you went to college, you're done.
You're into a career
by now.
Sure.
And you've moved on. And I think for a lot of people in their mid-20s, just like that, they're already reevaluating. High school has become that distant memory already. And what do we do now? Kind of a thing.
And were you prepared for college?
Mentally, I was ready. I'm
born historian from the year of 4.
From the word go. Absolutely. I went to community college in Visalia, College of Sequoias, and as I was walking onto the college campus, I remember this, saying out loud to myself, I will not stop until I get my master's. And I was just a sponge. I went to the military to get money for school and to see the world, and now everything had come together. It was time, and I could not wait, and I just absorbed everything I could, and I absolutely loved it in college.
Now, did your mom go to college?
No, neither of my parents did.
So this was a pretty big deal in the Beckworth family for you to do this. It wasn't like you were following a legacy and already had a roadmap laid out for you.
No. As a matter of fact, it was usually more for us growing up. You get a job, you go to work, paycheck to paycheck, and that was it.
Right.
I knew if I wanted to teach history, I had to go to college. By the time I went, I already had 3 siblings that were already in. They were going more of the community college route, like me. So it was an easy, transition to make, just like they were. But we all understood we've got to get that education.
Right. And you say community college, and I know that when you were going to school, and even when I went to school, there might not have been such a big difference between the price per unit at Cal State and a junior college. But I'll tell you what, there's a big difference now.
Well, when I started, it was $6 a unit, or $13 a unit, and now it's $46
Sure.
a unit,
Right.
and it was very inexpensive. You get that general ed, and that's why Bakersfield College is so good. You get those general classes out of the way, and then you go to your 4-year school. You take your upper division courses. It doesn't matter if you go to Bakersfield College or Harvard. Everybody has to take math. Everybody has to take history. Everybody has to take English. Why not save a lot of money and still be in the community doing it?
Right. And there's a lot of support, smaller class sizes, and let's talk about that support for just a second. How key was the GI Bill to you going to school?
It would have been almost impossible to not go. The Pell Grant was helpful. The Board of Governors was helpful. The GI Bill really helped me live. I had a job. I worked full time, went to school full time, but that was just simply not enough. And what the GI Bill is, it carried me through that into the 4-year school, which is much more expensive, and it was extremely important to make that happen. So when President Roosevelt put that in effect in 1944, it changed everything for millions of people.
No, it absolutely did. Now, you did go and get your master's degree, and I have to imagine there were other educational opportunities for you. Why did you choose to stay at the junior college level?
By the time I started college, I had been out of school for 6 years.
Okay.
I had forgotten a lot of stuff. I wasn't a great student to begin with. I knew I could not jump to a 4-year school with that academic rigor. I needed to get my feet wet again. I needed to kind of start really from the ground up. So by the time I did get to the 4-year school, I was ready.
Yes, and that's an excellent point, but I think I meant more professionally. Like, why have you chosen to stay and develop your career? No, but that was a great answer, because people need to remember that. I talk to a lot of folks who say, like, I've been out of school way too long. I don't know what I would do. Well, that's why we have classes that help with that. We have academic development courses. You're not alone. You're not the only one who's not ready. Don't worry. But why did you choose to stay at the junior college level professionally?
It was always that's always what it was. I never planned to go to the university level. It was always the community college level, reaching the students as opposed to heavy research. It was always, we think the term community college, we think, oh, the 2-year school. For me, that community part is a really big deal. So to actually help the community get where they need to go, it's a really big deal to me. It's not just fluff.
Well, and you're a dean now. And what's funny to me is you just hit the nail on the head, and I don't know if a lot of folks know this, but if you are a professor at Harvard or Davis or Berkeley, they're expecting you to publish. But now you've gone from being a professor to now you're associate dean, but I still see you talking to students all the time. Like, if you're a professor at Berkeley, I'm sure people have to make an appointment to speak with you, or you're going to be talking to an assistant, right?
Well, you have the UCs, very research driven. It's the idea of publish or perish is what you're referring to.
Right.
And it's not to say that they don't have interaction with the students, but for us here, again, going back to the term community, that's extremely important. And we are small enough to where we can talk to students individually. And I think as administrators, we need to do that instead of staying in our offices. We need to get out there. If we're coming up with all these programs for students, maybe we should ask the students what they think of such programs.
Well, and I'm going to stop you right there. We're going to talk to your associate, a very key member of the Bakersfield College team, especially when it comes to dealing with veterans. But do you have time to stick around?
Sure.
Because I want to come back to that. I want to have you and Tina in here at the same time to talk about about what you just brought up. Coming up next on Equity TV, we're going to speak to a person who's a relatively new hire at BC, but a critical one. Her name is Tina Mendoza, and you're not going to want to miss her. That's coming up next.